Hi there, welcome to another IT Wildcard video. So, fairly short video this time around, well hopefully, and it's really just one of those videos where I want to point you in the direction of a really useful online resource if you're not already aware of this, and that's the Computer History Museum website. They do have a physical place, like a physical museum, which you can check out where that is if you're curious. But this is more just showing you one particular aspect of it, which I found absolutely fascinating. And this is something under the Explore, and that's the timelines feature. And they have a number of different timelines: the timeline of computing history, the Silicon Engine, Internet history, storage engine, this day in history, and other things you can explore, like the exhibits, the collections, the blogs and the stories. But I was most interested in this one, the timeline of computing history, because it gives like nice, succinct timeline entries. So we can start off in the 1930s, and we can sort of go through, you know, some years there's nothing in here. So we've got something in 1933. That's where it starts from. You could argue that maybe they could have gone back further, but I'm assuming there's a particular reason why they've picked telex messaging networking as their sort of starting point. But of course you could go back to the Jacquard loom, to the work on the analytical engine as well. But anyway, yeah, this is where this timeline starts. So let's just have a look at a few entries here. Oh yes, this thing Mundanium, which uses, what is it, enhanced card catalogues with 16 million entries. And of course a lot of these you can check out by, you know, drilling down further on Wikipedia articles. But it's interesting to see some of these sort of physical representations of things that then became digital representations. And you know, there's sort of certain elements that were in there to do with cross-referencing and things like that. So yeah, there's the Model K adder, it's a kitchen table built, same year as Conrad Zuse built his Z2 computer. So that's a name that crops up a lot in the history of programming. And that's really how I found this. I was aware of the site before, but hadn't checked it out for a long time. And I was sort of poking around, looking for different things connected with the history of programming. And then as a result, discovered this through, you know, a certain page, I think, coming up in the Google, in you know, as a result of a Google search. So if we look at the 1940s, there we go. We've got Conrad Zuse finishes the Z3 computer. That's Alan Turing quoted. What else have we got? Oh yeah, here we go. First commercially produced computers, the ERA 1101. There we go, noughts and crosses. So that's all. Things like that are always a fun challenge. I mean, I haven't done it yet. I should see whether I can come up with a noughts and crosses thing for Prologue. That would be interesting. Yeah, that's the year that Alan Turing sadly died. Oh, there we go. If you're interested in logic theorists, that was possibly, and of course don't forget to scroll down here because there are multiple entries as we move through. Yeah, year on year, you probably get more entries per year. Direct keyboard entry. Yeah, look at all this amazing stuff. There's Robbie the Robot from 1956's Forbidden Planet, one of my favourite sci-fi films actually. Was it based on the Tempest, I believe? Shakespeare. And we move into digital phone lines. It's also interesting when you go through this, and some things you realise that, you know, the concepts are quite old, a lot older than maybe you think. So I'm going to jump forward to probably the period when did I first actually physically come into contact with a computer. And what I'm looking for is, there's Speak and Spell. Oh, there's the VAX. Now, for me, it would have been the Commodore PET, which I believe, came out before here. We have a 503 service unavailable. Oh, there's CPM. There's Cray. Interlato 80. Wow, look at all this stuff. Here we go. So that's the Apple One. So wasn't that all the same year? Yeah. So Apple II introduced Atari, Commodore 1530. I remember this, and Tandy, the TRS-80. And there's a Commodore called PET. Personal Electronic Transactor. 8K of, I remember that, 8K of unbridled power. Yeah, popular with schools. So my school didn't get one of these until, think about this. So I started computer studies in 78, finished it in 80. So it was a year into computer studies that the school had one, as a result of saving up through numerous sponsored walks that they did. They always used to spend initially they'd often spend sponsored money made through sponsored walks on minibuses. They actually had 2 by then, I think. And then one particular year, it must have been this year I suppose, they decided to spend it on pets. And I remember seeing the first one they got in as a demo and playing, I think, either Frogger or chess on it very quickly. And then they bought one to go in the math lab. And the second year of my computer science CSE, I got to use it pretty much every week. So you could book time at lunchtime to do your projects on. Prior to that, we used to have to submit all of our stuff via coding sheets to a computer, I suppose, at the equivalent in the UK of the school board, and they would use their use downtime on the computer when they weren't using it for, I suppose, accounting usage or scheduling usages. And so we used to have to, with a pencil, fill in a data sheet, and then it was basic we were using, that would go off, and then 2 weeks later or whatever, we'd get our results back. But yeah, so that would have been in 78 we did that, and in 79 was when I got access to Commodore PET. And then over time, in the course of a year, they did buy some floppy disks, but I remember there was only one person in the school, one student, who happened to be able to use floppy disks because his dad worked in computing. Everybody else, we used to have to buy what are they called, C15 tapes from W.H. Smith's to go in the tape machine that you probably saw on the front of the unit. Yeah. So, and that may have even been during the extra year that I stayed on, I'm not sure. I think I may have still had an opportunity to play with the computer a little bit, but I'm not sure. But certainly all through 79, and it is possible a little bit of 78. I can't remember the first year I did computing, how long it was before we switched from data sheets to using a PET, but it may have even been in the first year I did computer studies. But anyway, something definitely worth checking out. It goes right up to 2015 at the moment, and I'm sure over time they will introduce a lot more. So I'll include a link to the timeline directly, but you can also check the site out. Thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I'll catch you in a future episode.